Hey, welcome, Mike Crawford. Young Jerks. We're live tonight. Last minute show, a lot of competition. Didn't plan to do this, but breaking news. And I asked the guest if they'd come up and talk about it, and they said yes last minute. So we're live. We're going to have a great show tonight, hopefully. Some breaking news. FBI is conducting interviews about Sandra Birchmore. We had a great show recently about Sandra Birchmore with Mizzy. Looks like we helped get a lot of new followers to the Facebook group, hopefully over there. Maybe more of that tonight, hopefully. Invite your friends. Justice for Sandra Birchmore is the Facebook group. Mizzy is the admin moderator over there, and she's one of the chief advocates for justice for Sandra Birchmore. And there's been some major news just since recently we had her on the show. So tonight is a good time to follow up with her. Welcome back, Mizzy.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mike.
Are
Thank
you
you.
you must be in good spirits tonight.
Oh, I've had a smile all day. All day. It's I knew they were. I had a couple people tell me, but this really like put it out there, solidified it that, you know, that they really are investigating her case. And I am so happy. Hopefully they can get her some justice. The justice that is long overdue. So,
Yeah, the
uh,
last show you came on, that was one of the things that you were hoping was going to happen very soon, right? Yeah, you had
yeah,
said that.
yeah, I like I said, I had somebody. I have a feeling it's one of the people that the FBI approached. Had we had a conversation, and she didn't flat out say that she had spoken to the FBI, but she said, "Oh, I think they are." I said, "I hope the FBI is investigating." We were talking about the Karen Reed case, and I said, "I hope the FBI is investigating," and she said, "I think they are." And I said, I hope, I really hope they are." She goes, "I think they are." And I said, "Did you interview with the FBI?" And she said, "I think they are." And I said, "Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I won't ask any more questions about it." So, and I've had a couple other people tell me that they believed that it wasn't just the rumor mill. It was that they had people who were kind of knowing stuff, had an idea that she was being the case was being looked at. So
So as we jump right live in with Mizzy, because there is breaking news, and I think most people who are following this and watching tonight know who Sandra Birchmore is. But if you don't, she was a former member of a police youth program, like an explorers program at Stoughton High School, a young child, and she got groomed by a bunch of police officers that ended up sleeping with her. It seems like some of them definitely were underage. She was underage at the time,
yeah, for Matthew when with Matthew Farwell.
and then she slept with a bunch of other ones, and nothing's happened. There's been we found out through this Boston Globe article that there's been a mass state police investigation. Right?
Yeah, the case was turned over to taken out of Morrissey's hands, and the attorney general has her case now, and then now the FBI is now looking into her case also.
And the
So
question for people who are following this is, did she unalive herself, or was it her police officer boyfriend who admits that he had gotten her pregnant and he has a wife? So there's a lot that makes it look like he's probably involved in something here. A lot of us are speculating, obviously, but it looks very suspicious on so many levels. And now there's been movement. The feds are involved. The state police have been investigating. We're finding out the AG has taken over. Where do you what do you expect might happen next?
I'm hoping now the FBI doesn't look into a case unless they have some inkling something's going on. And now that we know they've been talking to people in Sandra's orbit, I'm hoping that they interview every child that went through the Explorers program to see if there are other children. And that might be a reason why the FBI definitely stepped in. And also, if there's corruption to go along with what's going on with John O'Keefe case, Officer John O'Keefe, I should say. With that, the corruption that they're looking into with the DA Morrissey's office, is there more corruption? Was there more favors done? You know, because Divine, there's a picture of Divine and Morrissey. There's they know. I mean, he was the deputy chief for years, so of course he knows Morrissey. So, was there other? You know, is this part of the ongoing corruption in the Norfolk DA's office? And that's something obviously that the FBI would want to know. If it extends further out than what's going on with the Karen Reed case. Does this include Sandra's case? I believe it does. You know, there's 3 officers, you know, they could have got them on violating her civil rights. You know, it makes no sense that nobody's been charged, especially Matthew Farwell, because his abuse did take place when she was 15. And they have proof of that. They have it in the text messages. So I hope the FBI gets the answers that we're all looking for, especially for her family. Her family deserve these answers to be, you know, these questions to be answered. And for, you know, when a family is dealing with a family member that they suspect has been murdered, and the other portion with the abuse portion of Sandra, they sit in this state of grief because they can't move forward. You can't move forward with the grief till you get the answers that you're looking for. So they need to get these answers so they can properly grieve Sandra, and Sandra can get the rest that she deserves. So hopefully the FBI can make a case here. And like I said, every child that went through the Explorers program needs to be interviewed from the day that Robert Devine took that program over. Every child. So
now the Globe story is showing that they interviewed 3 different people who they say who were close to Sandra Birchmore.
I assume there are 3 people that were named in the original report.
Do you know though who those people are?
No, I don't. But I suspect I know one of them. I suspect it's the person I spoke to.
What types of people are they? Are they like friends of her? Or were they people in the program? Like, can you give any kind of indication of what like
friends? And you never know, they could have spoke to her family members too. But the one person that I think I know of is definitely a friend.
And has that friend told you anything about, you know, Sandra Birchmore or the death or what she thinks happened or the behavior right before?
Yeah, we've talked a lot over the last year. You know, she knew a lot about their relationship, you know, that Sandra considered Matthew Farwell her boyfriend, and that she was pregnant by him, and that she was excited to have the baby. And this person knew her when she was younger too. And so she went into that dynamics of Sandra when she was younger also. So, you know, sadly, this is one thing that, like, I made a video about grooming and I posted it to my Twitter page for Sandra. And the Stoughton Police Department, you know, tried to get Sandra help for some of her mental issues. Well, you can't, and I said in that video, you can't strike the match and then go put out the fire. Your officers groomed Sandra, and grooming children can lead to mental issues. So what they did to her is a cause and effect thing. So Sandra was very mature in a lot of ways, but she was very, very immature in other ways. And I've had friends, and you know, in the reports, coworkers said that she overshared. So, and I had friends tell me this also. But she was also very secretive when it came to these men. That's part of grooming. She was also a little obsessed, but you become that way because he was her whole life. She loved him. She thought that they had a future. She wanted to be with this man, Matthew Farwell, out of the three of them. So she globbed onto him saying, she thought she was in love with this man, and she didn't understand that it wasn't love. It was abuse.
Now, in this Boston Globe story, it says they exchanged tens of thousands of text messages with Matthew Farwell. I think I heard it, 32,709 electronic messages from December 19th until her death. It says the court records on that had been impounded by a judge, but the order recently expired. And the text messages, Birchmore and Matthew Farwell arranged to meet at different locations, including a Costco, hotel, at her apartment, her family's home.
I know there was a park also. It's not in the article, but I know there was a park.
And the state police lieutenant, John Fanning, said that police considered, this is weird, this is what I don't get, considered potentially larceny charges for Matthew Farwell. What's that about?
I didn't understand that.
Yeah. And then the bigger thing is they said that they were looking at the serious charges that you were just asking about. He said, he basically said that they were looking at him for these more serious charges, but they didn't go through with them.
And I've been told the part of the reason is because Sandra's no longer around to testify, but they have the proof. They have the text messages. There are text messages that say that Matthew says that he took her virginity. And they also talk about when they first hooked up when she was 15. Why has he not been arrested? It makes no sense. Like I said, if they interviewed every child that went through the Explorers program, especially the ones that were in the program with Sandra, they might be able to find somebody. Matter of fact, I know somebody who came out to me and said that they said that they wouldn't come forward with their information, and they gave me limited information, but they said they knew of 2 other girls. I don't know if that's true. And they said that they were friends with Sandra. This person told Sandra to be very careful because what they were doing was wrong. And Sandra made this person promise that she would never say anything. And this person said to me that they want to honor their promise to Sandra, even in her death. And I was like, the best thing you could do for her is to tell the truth about what went on. But people are scared. You got to think of it. Who are you coming forward to? The police investigating the police. It's scary for people to come forward and speak to the police just as a regular witness. But when you're coming forward and testifying against a police officer, that's even more scary for people. And they don't want to get involved, unfortunately.
I totally get it. I get the pressure. We feel it. I feel it. But I think one thing that people need to keep in mind in these situations is that there are organizations like the FBI on this one, I think, that are going to help out. But I mean, even with this within the state, since you came on the show, just last week, the state Standards Training Commission, they approved an agreement with Farwell that prohibits him from working in law enforcement in Massachusetts again. I mean, there is some things that are happening. So I think if more people speak out, the more afraid they are, because they're going to actually suffer. Like, they can't get away with it. And because you've been speaking out, this happened with, I believe with the post-standard training thing. What do you think about that, first of all?
I mean, like, that was in the beginning of the week that came out, and I was like, yes, about time that his license was pulled. And he was also put on a registry to say that he can no longer be a police officer anywhere in the United States. So if he moves to another state, he's on that registry also. So people will look him up to see if there's any complaints or problems, and he's in that registry also. That's a good thing. He should not be a police officer. He should not have a badge, and he should never, ever be allowed to work around children again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that is great. That's great progress that we have in Massachusetts. I mean, we've been trying to do some reforms around police accountability,
Yeah.
and it was just like almost like a shitty compromise bill that even got us that little
Yeah.
improvement, but it's actually, even though it's small, it's made a difference in certain big cases like this one. So
It helps weed out some of those bad apples that the police won't weed out themselves.
exactly. So we've needed it. This is a new thing, this post commission thing where they have to certify
Yeah.
police officers, and he just lost his card. He can't be a police officer anymore, which is great because in the past what would happen is I saw it in my local town too, like bad cops would get sent to the next town. You know?
Yeah.
It's so often they would just move on. They would just problem happen, move over to the next town. And now
And that's why the
it's much
national
harder for
registry
police to
is
do that.
is very important.
Yeah. So,
And Matthew, his brother William and Divine, Robert Divine, are still, the post is still they're still going through it. So hopefully they'll lose their license also.
and those guys, none of them are cops right now, right?
No, they all resigned.
They have resigned. Okay. And
So,
who do you suspect? You mentioned one person that you think. What kind of questions you hope that the FBI is asking right now to the three people they're talking to, and maybe other folks?
what was going on behind the scenes? If in the reports, there are 2 instances that I know of that they got into physical, like he pushed her up against a wall. This is weeks before she died. And there was another incident where he told her, either, it said, the person couldn't remember the exact wording, but it said either I hope you die or I hope you kill yourself. Well, if somebody says that and then a couple weeks later the person that ends up dead, that's an issue. That's a big issue. So those are things that I hope these questions are being asked. Did Sandra confide in anybody about what was going on? Like I said, she was very secretive about stuff, but there were some people she was talking to. And I just hope those people come forward, especially now that they know that the FBI is looking into it, because it takes it out of the Norfolk DA's office and it's not quite as scary. Because those, if you live in Norfolk County and you're going to report on these officers, you see them. You have a chance of bumping into them. But if you go to the FBI, it's a little less. I mean, it's scary to think to go talk to the FBI, but it's a little less scary because you're not dealing with the local police department who knows these officers, and there's intermingling. Like I said, there's a photo of Robert Divine with Michael Morrissey, so that they know each other and stuff like that. So at least with the FBI, it's removed a little bit from the local aspect of it.
We just got a great question.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I like it that it's so great, because I think they were actually looking for information, but it also reveals how like unprecedented this kind of case, and I think the Karen Reed too, but we're talking about Sandra Birchmore tonight, how kind of
Mm-hmm.
unprecedented it is, because normally I don't think you'd see something like this. Mr. Meathook writes on YouTube, he says, puzzled, how is he banned if never convicted?
Well,
Was he convicted of something? No, he hasn't been convicted. So, I mean, this is, I would say, from reporting based on what he did. Like, everyone knows what this guy did, but the fact that he hasn't been convicted is the weird shit, right? Like, what's your
yeah,
answer to that, Mizzy?
yeah. Well, he's banned from the post. The commission banned him from being a police officer. I mean, he still has this freedom. He's walking around, he's hanging out with his wife and kids, and they're probably going to have a lovely Easter tomorrow. And Sandra should be here with her child having a lovely Easter tomorrow with her family. So yes, he's not convicted of a crime, but he is not allowed to be a police officer because we allow police officers to have so much agency over our lives. We give them so much power in our communities. And with great power, you have to be able to do the correct duty that you've been sworn to do. We're allowing you to carry guns and police us and, stop us and infringe on our lives, pull us over, give us tickets and all these things. And he can no longer do that because he does not deserve the honor of being a police officer. He's given up that right. So now we just need a conviction in a court of law. They're two separate forms of holding him to account. This is just the beginning. Now we need them to charge him, and hopefully we can get some justice that way in a court of law. But this is a huge step in the right direction with his license being taken away. And now with the FBI looking into Sandra's case.
Absolutely. And it seems like I believe in that same story, it said he admitted to be, or had he already admitted this? He admitted to being the father of the unborn child.
I don't remember if it was in that. Everything I've read, he denies that he's the father.
Okay.
But
let me go back and look at that, because
I
thought I read that, but I may be wrong on that. Maybe I read it wrong.
I mean, I sometimes have to read stuff a few times to catch everything.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was just skipping, well, not skipping, but like in my mind, skipping around the house with a big smile on my face all day, because this is like I said, I already knew it. I was talking to her cousin and I said,
oh, you're right. He did deny it. I read it wrong.
That's okay.
During a 2021 interview, he denied he was the father of Birchmore's unborn child, state police records show. So he's still denying it. I thought that he might have changed his mind. I read that wrong.
No, because I think that would make him in his eyes, it would make him more seem more guilty.
Yeah. Which in a way, to deny it makes him look more guilty now. And in my opinion, right?
Yeah. It also, like, I did a video the other day that's on the Justice page that there was a coroner. They had asked about if you do a DNA autopsy on a pregnant woman, what happens? And he said that they take a blood card from, they'll autopsy the mother and then they'll autopsy the baby, and they'll take a blood card in case further down the road that they need to do a DNA test. But my question is, this is for DA Morrissey's office. Why didn't they go and get a warrant to get this man's DNA? If it was anyone else, any other male out there, they would have shown the judge that video of him leaving her apartment and said, we need a warrant to find out if he's the father of her child, and also just to have DNA, just in case there was DNA under her fingernails or anything like that. So I'm hoping that they still have the blood card in case that the FBI asks to have it tested. There's only one issue with that is him and his brother are twins.
Oh boy.
So it'll say that it's one of the two of them.
Yeah, it's one of the two. A 50% chance each, I guess, right? But
yeah.
But if you look at there's also in this story something that I didn't see earlier, which I found curious. It said a second person said they told the FBI about Birchmore's account of an earlier pregnancy, which occurred years before her death, and it ended in a miscarriage. Had you heard anything about that first pregnancy?
Yeah, I believe Barb might be able to answer it. I believe she had a couple miscarriages, but I know at least of one. It might be more than one. So Sandra really wanted to be a mom. She really, really wanted to be a mother. And so she had at least that one miscarriage. Like I said, Barb might be able to jump in and answer that question a little better. But yeah, she was pregnant before by him.
That's what I was going to ask. Was it by him or somebody else?
by him.
And what years do you think that was she underage at that time?
I don't know. I can't remember. I have so much information
Right.
going on in my head. I'm not sure about that. Like I said, Barb might be able to answer that question.
Why do you think the FBI
Um,
I was asking about that?
actually, I think it might have been, if I remember correctly, one of them might have been around 2019, because I did talk to another family member, and they mentioned it too. So she was an adult, but she was still young, still very young.
I wonder why the FBI
So
was asking about that.
it, um, yeah, probably to show that it's something that she continued to want. It wasn't something that she wanted to get rid of the baby. She had lost other children, and she desperately wanted to be a mom. I mean, Sandra wanted so much. She was so excited about this child. Every family member and friend I've talked to, they all tell me she was so excited about this baby. She was so happy and desperately wanted this baby. Apartment building showing his visitor. Oh, sorry, she's reading. That's to somebody else. Yeah, so Sandra wanted this baby so much, and that's one of the reasons why I don't believe she would have killed herself, because she already had miscarried twice, so she already lost 2 children. So why would she want to end another pregnancy on purpose?
Exactly. And he left the apartment the night before. Had a mask on, doesn't wear masks. Looked like he was trying to hide his face. He's an anti-mask guy wearing a mask in front of the security camera. I mean, that says it all to me right there.
Yeah.
Something fishy.
He walked in there with his hood up, his head down, a mask on, so he could hide his identity. Nobody walks into a building like that. You don't hide your head, from the camera. And that also proves that he knew where that camera was. He knew there was a camera in that foyer. He had been there many times. In the reports, the maintenance man recognized him from when Sandra moved in. So he knew exactly what he was doing when he walked into that building. And when you see how fast he walks out of there, and then when he gets cleared the door, he like starts walking really fast.
Now the attorney general of Massachusetts still hasn't made a statement on why she took over this case.
I wonder if it's because the FBI asked her not to.
Huh.
That's what I personally think is what's going on, is the FBI was looking into her case, and because they can't do, just like with the O'Keefe case, they don't do murder cases. They could do the conspiracy portion of it.
Well, they do sometimes. They do sometimes. I mean, the Boston bomber was an example. I mean,
but that was terrorism.
I would say they could do terrorism and
yeah,
but in cases they do. I mean, Whitey Bulger even, like, so it depends. Like if it's a law enforcement or corruption case, it doesn't matter. Like they'll go into that. So it really depends on the case. Like they decide what they go after, basically, and they go after the big stuff. And this would be big. If there's something, but I would look at, I just wonder if, why there isn't any journalist in Boston that has at least found a leak with the AG's office to explain to us why she took it over. Cause I just can't believe they haven't leaked. I can't believe the Boston Globe or Channel 25. Or if I was full time, I'd be standing outside that office every day, like, buying people lunch to get info.
Yeah.
like I have to walk dogs, so I can't do that. But like, if I was a full time news reporter, like, I just wonder why we don't hear more about what's going on in the AG's office with this case, because it seems very strange that she took this over and we have no information on why.
Yeah. Well, this whole case has been the cone of silence. I mean, they had her case, the internal report dropped, and then like within a couple days the story was gone. And then when her aunt started the lawsuit, there was another little blip, but then the story died. And over the last year, I've been just trying to push this story. And like with the Officer John O'Keefe, Karen Reed story, I've been kind of, almost sneaking in with them, like they're creating the way, and I'm kind of sneaking in like, hey, don't forget Sandra Birchmore, because they do have a little bit to do with each other. It deals with the corruption in the Norfolk DA's office. So, and then, now that there's, Laura's starting to cover her case. She's been going to the hearings for the lawsuit. So she's really trying to dig into information of what's going on with the case. And I'm happy. I'm happy that she has taken on, this case, because somebody needs to. I don't have a big following. I have a very small, as a content creator, I have a very small footprint. I do have an okay TikTok amount, but I don't have a big footprint to get a lot of coverage. That's why I've gone and done all these shows, because it helps. Like, coming here, I'm so thankful that you have me on again, because the right person might see it. There are some other reporters that are looking into the story, and they said they saw me on one of the shows. So just by us doing this show, somebody on YouTube or Facebook or wherever they see this might come across it and generate more information coming in. And that's all I'm about. I just want Sandra to get some justice. I want people who know what they know that needs to come out to come forward. They can come forward to me if they want to give a tip to you, and you can get it to me, or call the FBI. If you have information, especially with guys who were abusing a young woman. This could be your daughter, this could be your sister, this could be your cousin, or it could have been you.
Absolutely.
So,
and we're talking about Sandra Birchmore, and you mentioned the lawsuit. Is the hearings happening right now? Like, the lawsuit is happening, the civil lawsuit. Where is that happening?
it was actually the last hearing was the same day as Karen Reed's last hearing.
And what's going on there? Like, they
just still going, doing motions. They just did some motions to dismiss, and Joshua Hale got dismissed from the lawsuit. And they dismissed one portion of the lawsuit for the other guys, but the last one was they put in to get the autopsy. So the autopsy is going to be in the hands of these disgusting men, but also her aunt's lawyers are going to have the autopsy in their hands. And I'm hoping once they see the autopsy, I have not personally seen the autopsy, but I had someone come to me and say, you need to get it out there that we think it wasn't her who did this, because somebody very close to this person saw the autopsy and they said something's wrong here. It's not what they're saying. So I'm hoping that when they get the autopsy, they will realize, hopefully, that there was more to what was being said.
I wish people were broadcasting that. Is there any pool camera there that's like able to film that or broadcast it?
You can go watch it on Zoom.
Really?
Yeah. I was supposed to watch the last one, but I got up early for the Karen Reed one, and I fell asleep and woke up. It was only like a 5-minute hearing, okay. So I woke up too late to watch it. But
do you post those in the Facebook group?
No, I don't. This was the first one that I really got the information ahead of time for.
Okay.
but I can if people want to watch it. I'm walking kind of a fine line because I don't want to totally piss her aunt off.
Yeah.
And I want to be respectful to the family, but I know there are a lot of other family members who like what's going on, that justice is being sought for her outwardly, not quietly, with just the lawsuit. Because there's a girl from Stoughton, Trisha. She's like, nobody knows about the case. That's why we're actually doing a standout on Saturday too in Stoughton.
So
from
that's
1 to 3.
this coming Saturday.
I'm sorry, 12 to 3. Yes,
a week from today, 12 to 3.
12 to 3.
And that's outside the town hall downtown.
Yeah,
right?
if you Google if you do the town hall, it's right across the street from the town hall. That's the best way to GPS that. And yeah, I'm hoping to get a good crowd there, because people need to know. Not enough people know about Sandra's case. People are starting, there's a lot of noise being made, especially with these 3 articles back to back in the Boston Globe.
Right.
There's more that needs to get out there. More people should know about Sandra's case. I was talking to a reporter yesterday, and I said, I don't understand why this case did not go national. Yeah. 3 police officers involved in a sex scandal that involves one of them, abusing her at 15, and these 3 officers groomed her. Why isn't this a national story? I don't understand.
Yeah, absolutely. You would expect almost, see a Netflix series or something, or 60 minutes on this.
Yeah. Or even like the 2020 news, or like a national network should have picked this case up by now.
And how crazy is it that this happened in Canton, Massachusetts, where the John O'Keefe case happened? Like, these are just both examples of that. There seems to be a problem in Coptown here. I mean, call us crazy, they call us all kinds of stuff. Do you get any of that crap, or not in the Sandra Birchmore? Like, do you have trolls that hate you for covering this?
I've only had a couple, but for the most part, I've had mostly positive. I did get a death threat on Twitter once. Thankfully, it's only been once. I think just because the Karen Reed trial is so like polarizing that, there's so many people on either side. Just, I mean, I'm on the camp of Karen Reed is innocent, but just the fighting back and forth and all this stuff, I think that's partly why it's a little different. But, and also I think people see, which is crazy, you see a Boston police officer who was murdered, and they don't even say Boston police officer. They always call him by his John O'Keefe. And with Sandra, people should be screaming like, this girl was abused by police officers, So it's crazy. It's a crazy story, and it should be national.
BL had a question about Sandra. She did live in Canton when she passed away.
Sandra was born in Boston. She grew up in Stoughton, but she had moved to Canton about in late October. So she was only in Canton for a few months. But she did die in her apartment in Canton, Massachusetts, almost exactly a year before Officer John O'Keefe passed away, or was murdered, I should say. So, and it's weird, with both cases, both took place in a really bad snowstorm. Both cases took place in Canton, both investigated by the same unit of the Massachusetts State Police. Both Lank is part of both cases. There's so much that, there's similarities with the case, but obviously they're very, very differences,
Same state police, same Morrissey, DA, right? I mean, Norfolk County.
Yes, and especially Morrissey.
And, it's also same town police forces that don't look good, in different towns, Stoughton and Canton, you know what I mean? So right next to each other. So I call it all. I think Norfolk County is like all cop land. It's always Canton, I always felt like it was the center of that. They call it the Irish Riviera. I'm Irish, don't American, all my family, so don't come at me for being a stereotype against Irish folks. But that's just the truth of it. That's just the way that area. If you grew up in Massachusetts, you would understand that. I went to school with a lot of people from Canton, from that area as well. I went to Bridgewater State, so I think I have a viewpoint on it. That area, and knowing some of the time, what is the other town? Braintree has always been kind of like that too. I feel like certain towns like that. And if you look at
Yeah.
Braintree, they also had an evidence room scandal.
Yeah. That's why that in Canton, that's why it's so important that this review happens, because the review of the Canton police, I mean, they are so slow walking this, and it's ridiculous. But because of cases like Sandra's, they could catch something that was missed. That and I don't know if I talked about it on the last time I was on the show, but there is I did have somebody come to me and tell me that 3 of the 5 officers said that they don't agree with the Massachusetts State Police. And this is something that a rumor that's been going around.
So who said this? Was this was a rumor?
I had a source come to me, and it was a police officer who told them that 3 of the 5 Canton police officers that were on scene didn't agree with Massachusetts State Police's assessment of Sandra's case, and that they spoke to their supervisor, and supposedly there was an email sent from that supervisor to the Massachusetts State Police / DA's office, because it's all the same. If you do a FOIA request, it goes to the Norfolk DA's office. And I've done FOIA requests on both, and they're saying there's no email. But Dave McGrath, he also got this information from a cop, and there's another cop who said that he heard this information. So it's not just it's cops who are giving these tips.
Any tips on which cops might have been?
Lank is one of them. I have not gotten the names of the 2 other cops. But there are 2 cops that left. Yeaton, he retired, and Detective McCourt. They both no longer work at the Canton police station. So it makes you wonder if they're the 2 officers that didn't agree with Sandra's case. And like I said, it's not just somebody's talking, somebody's putting this out there, and it's police officers. It's not, just random people on the street. It's police officers who are telling people.
Now we have someone who says that she's a cousin of Sandra. Do you know Barbara?
Yes.
She's posting comments in our chat.
Yes. I speak to Barb almost every day.
You do. That's excellent. She's making some comments right now. She says she was a very caring, loving cousin. I was living alone after a tough divorce, and she was worried about me. She also said that got a few other comments. She was there for me at any time, anything I needed. We were so close. Sandra was excited to be accepted to nursing school in the spring. She was also excited to have a child. Barbara's been noting too.
Yeah, and Barbara was one of the last people to talk to her. They were texting.
I wonder if Barbara's talked to the FBI. I'm guessing maybe.
I don't think so, but
no.
If she has, she hasn't told me.
Okay.
But she, like I said, Sandra was talking to her through text. Like Barbara said, she was reaching out to her to find out if she was okay about something that was going on, and she was also messaging with a coworker about if they were going to have school the next day. So. And like she just said, she was planning so much for this child. She just had gotten a car seat. She had a baby carriage. She had clothes and she was getting ready to have a baby shower. This isn't somebody who would have wanted to kill herself and the baby. And I've stated before, when I was 13, I tried to kill myself. And I know the complexities of the mind. And, when I woke up that morning, I was like, I'm going to kill myself today. People's things can change in your head split second, but I don't think she would have. And even if I always have to say there's that like 1%, if she did, it was because of Matthew Farwell. It was because of the abuse that he put upon her and that these other officers did to her. It's because of them. I don't believe she did it to herself. But even if she did, you have to say it's because of these men. It's because of what went on in her life because of these officers.
It's hard to deny it. And like when you look at it, just in
Especially
terms
since
of,
one of them was the last person to see her alive.
yeah.
Trooper Fanning said that they believe that she killed herself the second he left.
That's insane. Barbara's got more comments. I want to ask Barbara a question too in the chat. She says, I miss her every day and can't let this go. Matthew Farwell was involved in her passing. I know it. I was going to ask you that, Barbara, but you've already answered it. I guess my next question would be about did Barbara talk to Matthew Farwell or hear anything from him after this, or has the family heard from him since
Not
her
that I
passing?
know of.
Yeah.
She can answer that better. I don't believe anybody's talked to him.
And this was also going on, which we haven't mentioned tonight, is the night that Sandra passed, Matthew Farwell, his wife, was in the hospital that night, awaiting a scheduled C-section the next day to have a baby. I mean, this guy, it just, come on. It's so obvious. It's really obvious.
Why are you leaving your pregnant wife who's in the hospital in the middle of this big snowstorm where Canton got a little over a foot of snow that night? Why are you leaving your wife to go to your girlfriend's house, at 9:15? You should be in the hospital with your wife. You should be there for your child that's about to be born. Why he didn't have Mike? I always say this. Why was he there? He could have called Sandra and said, I'm done. We're done. He could have texted her, I'm done. He could have emailed her, we're done. We're broken up. I don't want to see you anymore. I'm deleting everything. He didn't have to go to her apartment. Why was he physically at her apartment with everything that was just said? His wife was in the hospital getting ready to have a baby. It was a major snowstorm. Why was he physically at her apartment that night? He did not need to be there to break up with her, because that's why he claims he was there, was to break up with her. He could have called her and said, we're done. Why was he there? And why was he walking in that apartment so shady? And I hope the FBI gets to those answers.
Another comment from Barbara says, from what I've heard, now this is a cousin of Sandra Birchmore, is in the comments in the chat. She says, from what I heard, Billy, Matt's brother, told Matt's wife what was going on. Have you heard anything like that or confirmed that, Mizzy?
Yeah, there's a witness who told them to talk to his brother because he told his wife. And I partly think that had to be with, if you read the report, and I recommend anybody who's watching this to go on the Justice for Sandra Birchmore Facebook page, go up to the file section, and you can read the reports. Two of them are very long, but you will get to see what was going on with Sandra, especially when it comes to the abuse portion. One of the witnesses said that Matthew's wife was told by William. And I personally think that William was trafficking Sandra. When you read the reports, He looked himself up, I believe it was 24 times in the system to find out to look into himself. Why is a police officer looking him up in the system? Like, if you're not doing anything wrong.
Let's just stop right there. Because we want to make excuses for the state police, like you said earlier. Like I almost want to let them off because it's like you said, she's dead. It's hard to prove it when she's dead that he did any sexual BS. But that right there, they're prosecuting Janelle Webb for looking up 2 license plates.
Yeah.
And
in the same system.
And this guy did way worse than Janelle. Like, and he's not facing felonies for how many times did he look himself up?
He looked himself up 24 times.
That should be 24 felonies against that dude.
And he was looking Sandra up.
This state police, that same Norfolk County DA's office will go after Janelle Webb for looking up 2 license plates. But when a state police officer does it in a murder, like what could be a murder, like this is what it looks like to us.
Well,
but it doesn't even matter. Why was he looking himself up that many times? Because of all the criminal things that he did.
It was actually the brother, William, the twin brother, who was looking her up. That's why I think he was trafficking her. He was looking her up and himself up. A police officer has no reason to look himself up unless he thinks that he's being investigated. There is no reason for a police officer who's straight and narrow and does his job right and doesn't do any shady stuff, has no reason to look himself up in the system. Why would you be looking yourself up in the system? Unless you suspect something might be going on behind the scenes. Unless you want to make sure there's no investigations going on into you. And if you look at the, I think it was the last Boston Globe article, it was said that from the post hearings that William was making Sandra take photos and videos of the men she was having sex with and sending it to him. Why?
Well, I know,
mean, yes,
right?
he could just be a perv.
I know, either he's a perv or he's putting them up on some sites, maybe making some money off of it. Who knows?
That or to threaten to out these officers, to curry favor with these people,
extortion. Yeah.
And trafficking doesn't have to be where this person's getting money. It could be things.
Favors, yeah. It could be controlling you. Controlling you.
Yes.
I mean, that's what the whole P. Diddy thing, I think, is all about, is he wanted to control people.
Yeah. So it like I said, people think of that. Her name's Janelle, right? She is getting charged twice for looking up license plates. But this officer looked himself up 24 times and also looked Sandra up. Why isn't he charged for that? Because it's illegal for a police officer to go in there and look up things that they're not supposed to. Officers do it. They look up their, girls they want to go out on dates with, or a girl that they pulled over. It's a well-known fact that officers do it. They're not supposed to. But why was William looking himself up that many times?
Seemed like he was worried about something.
Exactly.
Justice for Sandra Birchmore. We have the Facebook group up that you have. So I didn't know this. I'm gonna go check this out. That you've been putting, because I know this on the Justice for John O'Keefe and Karen Reed group, that they put out all the court documents in the files. You can click on the files. I don't know if everyone knows this. And the what do we call these things below here, where it says chats, reels, the tabs, yeah. In the tabs, you look for the files, and you can. So you post all the files too from court and things that have been submitted that are public.
I haven't posted. There's the only one from the civil case that I've posted is the initial civil when they first filed the civil case. But I have the internal report from Stoughton is there. There's 4 reports from Canton. I only have 4 reports. And then there's also the Massachusetts State Police report into their investigation of the case.
Excellent. I want to take a
So
look at those. I'll be looking them over maybe this weekend.
it's a lot of
Hopefully.
reading because they're long
Yeah.
reports.
I love doing the reading. I love sitting down and reading all that stuff. I've been reading Karen Reed stuff for months now.
Yeah. There's a
But it's
lot of
also
redactions.
tax season, though. It's also tax season. That's my next major project right now. Taxes always get crazy now.
Yeah. They're very interesting. There's a lot of redactions, so it does get annoying, but you can read between the lines when you know a little bit about the case what they're saying, and it's shocking. And there's also, when you read it, you'll see that there's at least one other child, it seems like, that Matthew was abusing.
I would not doubt it. I mean, think about it. All these cops.
Yeah, a good place to start is also the case. That is a really good reference point of Sandra's case. They did a really good breakdown, and also they delved heavily into the Explorers program and the problems that they've had with this program of children being abused. So this isn't like just a Stoughton problem. This is an Explorers program
And that's
problem.
what I'm so glad you said that, because I've looked up so many Explorers programs, and there's been problems like this over and over. It's a very common. It's a power, a big power dynamic.
Definitely.
I think you've also seen some of the same things when they bring in Hollywood stars into schools. If the Hollywood star is a freak,
Yeah.
there's a major power dynamic. So you just have to make sure, and that's why I'd be very careful about having any police explorer programs in any high school or middle school, or got to have the right people, because
The people above them need to supervise.
exactly.
I worked in retail for 17 years, and we had a thing called secret shoppers. They could have, or you never knew when your regional manager or district manager was going to pop in your store. So you better be acting right. So I don't understand why there wasn't more supervision. There should have been a lot more people. That's why the town's being sued, and that's why the police department's being sued, because they allowed this to happen. By not checking in on what was going on with these children, they allowed these children to be abused. They can't just do the report and wash their hands and say, oh, we did the report, it's all off us. No, it's still on you, because you allowed your police officers to do this, to live in an environment where they thought they could do this.
Absolutely. Now, Justice for Sandra Birchmore is the group. I hope people support it. I'm gonna try to let's put the tab in there if we can. Yeah, I have it right here. I'm gonna throw it in the comments so
Awesome.
people
Thank you.
can join it. Please join it if you haven't,
Yes.
and even better yet, if you're already in the group, you can invite your friends. See that invite button? Hit that invite button and invite
Yeah.
all your friends, especially the ones that you know would be interested in supporting something like this. Justice for Sandra Birchmore. And again, the docs are in here. So if
Yes.
there's any new documentation or even catching up on the old court files, it's right in there. Just look at the tab in the files, and you can read up on and find out much more information about this. If you're new to the case, Justice for Sandra Birchmore, it's a Facebook group. Join it. And
Yeah.
Mizzy runs it. You'll find Mizzy there.
Yeah. And if you're on Twitter, if you don't use Facebook, I have a at Sandra Birchmore Twitter handle that I post on. I share all my videos that I make for TikTok on both of these places. I release as much as I can. I, take out little portions of the report and I post them on both of them so people can read, to highlight sections of the reports that people really need to see. And if you go on the Facebook page and you click on, it'll be under a mixed girl in a mixed up world. That's That's what I mostly post under. That is my what I create videos from, is my mixed girl page. If you click on that name, you can scroll down. If you scroll down, you'll see everything I've posted. So you can go back and watch all my videos that I've posted and see some of the reports and some of the things that I've posted. So you don't have to keep scrolling through the whole entire page. If you click on a mixed girl in a mixed up world, you will be able to get a lot of information there.
And MJ just commented. She said, "I have invited all of my friends."
Thank you. Thank you.
She's our moderator, and I want to thank MJ for moderating the chat. And I also want to say I've invited a lot of my friends, not all of them, but like all of the ones so far that I think that will want to be in there. So that's what I try to do. I have a lot of friends, so
yeah,
it would take yeah, but that's what you do. You just kind of which ones are going to want to join. Head them up and send them over.
If you have any true crime friends, if you got any friends that are into true crime, invite them there.
Yeah, or locals that locals that follow the news that want to do the right thing. You know who they are.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And again, we have a standout on Saturday, the 6th, in Stoughton. If you come, we need everybody that we can get there to be there, so we can let them know that we are not letting this case go. We are going to stand by Sandra, and we're going to keep shouting her name and getting her name out there, getting her case out there. There's going to be other standouts we're going to be doing. I'm going to try to organize two standouts in May. One for the yearly Canton meeting, and one for the yearly Stoughton meeting. And the Canton meeting falls on Sandra's birthday, so we're going to do a standout in Stoughton that day and kind of do a remembrance thing for Sandra, and then we'll do something at the, do some protesting so people who are going into the meeting can see her name.
And when is that?
That one is May 6th, I believe, and the other one's May 13th. They're both on Mondays.
Okay, so you're gonna have some Monday events too.
Yeah.
And so the next thing is Saturday, 12 to 3 p.m. outside the town hall.
Yes.
On Saturday.
Hopefully
you have good weather like you had today. Today turned out to be a nice day.
Yeah. As of right now, the weather looks like it's going to be good. I'm praying that it stays like that, because we had to cancel our last one because it was really bad. Snowing and raining.
We've had such crappy weather until today, finally. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it starts. It looks like it's going to be like hopefully where spring is finally here, I think. Yes. Hopefully. Knock on wood.
Yes.
I just put some of my plants outside.
Hopefully we're going to get some rain next week, but hopefully it's not Saturday.
Yeah. Let's hope
so cross your fingers, everyone, that we don't get rain Saturday, because we need to really, now that the nice weather is coming, I want to try to do more of these and get people out there. And so, like I said, so Canton knows that we're not letting this go, and Stoughton especially, and Morrissey's office knows, even though it's been taken out of his hands, he still needs to know that we're not happy that he didn't bring charges in this case.
This is another good comment. We get some really good comments on this show. That's what I love about it. The feedback too from people. AC said, I used to think the feds were involved in Sandra's case before Karen's, but then I found out the feds were actually involved with Karen much earlier than we all thought.
Yeah, I thought the feds were, I still believe that they were there before Karen's, but not too much before that. Sandra's report dropped in September of 22. And I believe, didn't it come out that it was November they started looking at Karen's case of 22? So it was only a month before, I think. But I could be wrong. It could just be, now that there's starting to be a groundswell about Sandra, it's the opposite.
Yeah, definitely. It's tough to know. I mean, just the fact that they just interviewed a couple of people recently, it seems like, makes me wonder. It seems like maybe Karen was first, and I always thought Sandra was first, but we still don't really know. But that's an excellent question to think about.
I mean, we don't know if there are people from her, people she worked with. There were interviews who aren't, part of what's going, part of the pages and things like that. So I don't, I hope they're further along than it seems but I'm just happy that they are looking into her case.
Mr. Meat Hook says, plants, Mike? What kind of plants? All kinds of. We got tomato plants. We got flower plants. We got some other
Wow.
kind of plant. We got some special plants. All within limit. You gotta. Yeah, I'm a moderation guy. I try a little bit of everything. All kinds of plants going out. So, Missy laughing. Everybody knows what kind of plants I like. I like them all. I've always done tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers too. I'm a plant guy. I like flowers. Today I had to stop myself from buying any more lilies. A market basket. It's like I'm like, I can't buy another one. Number one, our rabbits, the little wild rabbits, eat them all anyways, and they get sick and then die. Yeah. And so we have to like gate off our lilies. I'm just like, oh no, I'm not buying anymore. No more flowers today. But I'm that guy. I go into a plant store and I'm buying every type of seed. I'm grass. I love it all,
I like hummingbirds, so I love when they're around the flowers that are in. We have some wild flowers in back of my house, and I
love it all. Yeah. I love the spring. Spring is like the best time of year by far.
I'm a fall girl, but spring is good too. I just don't like the heat, so I like it when it's cooler, but it's nice out too.
Yeah. That's what I like spring. It's like it's that in between period. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's like, especially now, like once you get through like that kind of cold, windy, rainy section of spring, then it gets nice. It's like, yes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't last. None of it lasts. And none of us last on this planet. Nothing lasts. But anyways, go ahead.
This case has really made me realize you gotta make sure that you're living your life, because you never know what's going to happen, so that's why, although I live this every day, I go to bed thinking about Sandra, I wake up thinking about Sandra, I figure out how I can keep things going on the page, so it's like my whole day is kind of wrapped around Sandra, and that's fine. That is fine. I'm okay with that, because if this helps get her some justice, I'm okay with that.
It gives you purpose too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's actually chilled me out a little bit, because like I've walked away and not said things to people online, especially since I'm under her name. And sometimes I'll switch to my other account on Twitter, and I'm like, no, you still represent her. So because there was one person that I kind of told off on Twitter though, because they said something really rude about Sandra and her case. And I said something back to him, but it was more like, do you even know the case? If you don't, why don't you keep your mouth shut? Because they were saying something about Karen Reed and Sandra in the same sentence. And I was like, keep your mouth shut if you don't know what's going on. But I find it's humbled me a lot, because I'm a very, like, in a lot of ways too, I have health issues, and I'm kind of glad that I don't drive anymore, and that my health issues kind of keep me out of Canton and Stoughton, because I would be in trouble like Turtle Boy, because I am an outspoken person. I mean, we definitely different ways. There are things that I don't agree with that he's done, but I would also be a very outspoken advocate, and I am an in-your-face kind of tell you off or tell you to your face kind of person. And I've kind of chilled, and I'm like, I'm kind of glad I'm sick, because I would be in Canton and Stoughton every day, making a lot of noise. And I'm like, yeah, with Morrissey and I would have a special prosecutor on me. And I'm like, I'm kind of glad that I'm in my own little pocket and I do most of my stuff online, because I would be in the same boat as him.
It can get crazy. Yeah, I've been going back and forth so many times about whether I should just chill out on the trolls or go nuts on them.
It's fun. It's fun to like.
It is fun, but then I'm like, all right, now I'm done with it. I had like a week with them this last week where I just said, you know what? They've been hammering on me. I've been ignoring them. I just hammered on them. I just like I think I did some damage too, and now like they're crying again, and just like But now I'm bored. I'm like, I'm going back to just doing the shows. Like
Yeah.
I'm not
See,
gonna spend all my time fighting with these trolls on Twitter. I just
I
want
like
the
to argue as a person.
yeah,
So it's like,
yeah, my whole thing is I just want to remind them that I can punch back.
yes,
Like
yes,
like I'm not afraid. And if you want to get punched a couple times, you want to get punched back, I'll punch you back for a week.
yeah,
But it's not what I want. Like I'm not into
yeah,
that. Like I'm just mostly I'm going to ignore you because all of your traffic is now coming from us. It's like you have nothing otherwise, and it's like like
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of had made me have to chill because I'm like, I have to think about stuff more. I'm very quick witted and I'm very, I could speak fast and I've had to kind of be like, no, don't say that. You're talking to,
Exactly, because you know what will happen is you'll waste more time on it.
yeah,
That's what it is all about. What you said earlier. We have so little time. I
exactly.
would never want to be someone that spends like I even spending a week on them, having fun on them. It kind of like indulgent, like considering how little time we have on this planet. Like
Yeah,
that's kind of like even that I look at myself and say, geez, maybe I should have spent like a day at most on it. But
yeah,
it's
yeah,
even that is too much. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Because I start to say to myself, why am I fighting with people on the
yeah,
internet? It
yeah,
makes no sense,
yeah.
And then, like I said,
Even
because
if it's for laughs, like, because I like you said, I really did enjoy some of the stuff. They did a video about me on the with the well, all of us like called with the Love Boat theme.
oh,
I
I
was
didn't
like,
hear that
oh
one.
my god, this is hilarious. This is friggin' I used to love the Love Boat. Like, and they made me the doctor. Like, I am not the doctor. I would be more like the entertainment director that books the shows. But if you want to put me as the doctor, I remember the doc. I remember Doc and Love Boat.
Yeah,
Like, it was hilarious. Like I was having a lot of fun with it, but at the same time, like focused on the shows and the real stuff. There's so much to focus on that's positive and putting your time in. And like you said, you're focusing on how can I, reach people? How can I post the next thing on my social media to get people on the right path with Sandra
yeah.
Birchmore? I mean, that's the type of thing that is more important than worrying about what somebody had said.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I try to humble myself and say, don't say anything, don't say anything, and I try to stay out of it because it's not worth it. It's not worth for me to get worked up, especially since I'm a representative for her. I'm trying to tell her story, and I don't need to insert myself into the story because if I'm fighting with them, it's about me. I'm mad. They said something
Exactly.
to tick
You're in
me
the
off.
same. Yeah. Someone
So
said on the comment, they said, not Isaac mixing the drinks. I could have been mixing drinks. That's so true. That's kind of like the entertainment director. They had Tom as the mixing the drinks guy, which I think is a good choice, actually.
yeah,
I
yeah.
would drink Tom's margaritas, definitely. But I could have been like the fill-in bartender, no doubt about it. Um, who is Captain Stubing? Oh, you know who that. I think that was Turtle Boy, actually. I think they
Yeah,
made him
that makes
Turtle
sense.
Boy, of course.
The person that
I
you
don't
had
like
highlighted before, I do want to answer their question before we go on. Yes,
yes.
I am on YouTube under a mixed girl in a mixed up
Oh,
world.
yes. Thank
I
you for
have a
answering that.
Facebook page too. Same thing. I've interviewed a lot of people whose family members who have been murdered. Um, and those cases, I would love for people to look at those cases because it would be wonderful if those cases got out there. They're all pre-recorded interviews. And I've edited photos and stuff like that. They're not like live interviews. But yeah, if you want to go follow me there, a mixed girl in a mixed up world.
A mixed girl in a mixed up world. Is
Yeah.
that okay? That's on YouTube. I got to make sure I'm following that on YouTube as well.
Yep. And Facebook, I'm on that, and that's what I post on. Like I've created Sandra's page under that name, I believe, and that's what I post mostly under.
In the group, I've seen that.
Yeah.
MJ post. Now the Love Boat song is stuck in my head. It's in my head too now. The Love Boat. So funny. I was looking who's going to be Cha Cha. There was no Cha Cha lady. Remember Cha Cha? Did you ever
Yeah.
watch their Love Boat? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. As a kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who would be Cha Cha.
Mm. I think it was actually Cha would have been the person who actually made the video trying to troll us that I enjoyed so much. She would be Cha. How about that one? I'm
I'll have
being
to look
nice
that
to her.
up.
Yeah. And MJ just posted your links too.
Thank
Our
you.
moderator posted them on the YouTube, so make sure you subscribe there. And again, you're also on Twitter. Say your
Yes.
Twitter again.
At Sandra Birchmore.
That's right, at Sandra Birchmore, which I'm following. I
Yep.
share that, a lot of your tweets there as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
MJ wants me to send the video. I was thinking about posting that video, but I think we'd probably get smacked on copyright on our
Oh
YouTube
yeah,
for
because
the
of the
music.
theme song.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was a
Yeah.
fun, someone spent all that time on
Making
hating
it.
us.
Hey, at least if they're gonna come for you creatively, that's creative.
Yeah, at least they're being creative. I gotta admit, though, I've given them their creative inspiration with hate. It's funny. But that's the thing, Mizzy, I'll say, like, if Turtle Boy all of a sudden jumps on Sandra Birchmore, then you'll have a bunch of trolls that hate you.
He's covered her case.
I know,
Because
yeah.
there's not a ton to
But
do with her
he
case.
hasn't done 300 things on it. You know
No,
what I mean?
no.
Yeah.
But it's hard because there really isn't. I mean, he could look into the guys a little more and stuff like that. But it's like now that the FBI is covering her case and the AG, that might get a little more momentum. But once you've gone through the reports, it's hard to keep coming up with content. He mentions her almost every live. He goes on a tangent about how, especially Fanning, now that Fanning was at his arrest, he's like, and Fanning, he's for the last year he's been mentioning his case, especially because in the beginning he did a complete show on Sandra and he thought she killed herself, and now he doesn't think she killed herself, and so he has been covering the case, just not to the extent of what he did with Karen Reed.
And there's not a trial right now so far.
No.
I mean, that's a big difference too.
Yeah. And I think because there's so much craziness in Canton and there's so much like this side and that side, and there's neighbors fighting with neighbors and stuff like that. I think Sandra's case is a little different in that sense, where it wouldn't be, it's not like the McAlberts fighting against everybody, all the free Karen Reed people. Sandra's case kind of brings a lot of people almost together, because who wants children to be molested by police officers? So it's like, everybody should be like, Officer John O'Keefe deserves justice, and what's going on in Norfolk County is not right, regardless, but I don't know, if the temperature just needs to come down so much in Canton. It's hard because there's so many people on one side and there's these other people who are crazy on the other side.
I think the other side from Free Karen Reed are mostly, for what I found, are just people that really hate Turtle Boy because he did a story about them and they can't get over it.
Yeah.
Or they're McAlberts. They're actually people who, are either totally innocent people who have been slimed or have some culpability in the actual death of John O'Keefe. So I think that's what's different, is that, there's like been a mob on the other side built up between those two groups of people, which is the McAlberts, they got followers. Number one, there's like a group of them, they have followers in that town. And the other side of it is, a lot of Turtle Boy's been writing a lot of stories about people that they don't like. And I get that, because I've written some difficult stories about people in the past, and they don't like it either. When you're a journalist, when you're covering tough stuff, there's going to be people upset,
I look at it, if you don't like Turtle Boy, that's fine, but you can't look at what he did by, the information he put out. you got to say, okay, he might have been right on this part. Even if you hate him, you have to look at it.
Right.
You know what?
And to call everyone that even supports it or looks at it or platforms it to say that they're bad people, to say that they're in a cult, to say that they're awful people, grifters. Nah, that's what I got. I got threatened. I've had lost friendships over it just because I backed Turtle Boy on the story. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. It's people that they are so upset about what he did to them. And
Yeah.
it's like, you know what? He didn't do it to me because I didn't act like an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you acted like an idiot in public. That's what a lot of these people have done. They've acted like idiots in public and they got called out on it and they can't get over it. I mean, I love Jessica Machado. She came on my show like a week ago. She got some shit from Turtle Boy for some shit she did. And whether it was warranted or even not, she's just like, it just made me stronger.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I didn't, the guy said he'd take it down. I said, no, it's like my badge of honor at this point because she's now defending him because she knows he's right on the story. Like it just, that's it. Like, I don't give a shit. Turtle Boy wrote something about me, one little brief thing. And people are like, you wimped out after he scared you off. No, no, I didn't even give a shit. Like all the damage had already been done before he even wrote about me. Anyways, people were already mad at me, but it's like nothing. I've taken so much more shit from the anti-Turtle Boy people. Like they're the ones who are the real nasty people, not the Turtle Boy supporters. The Turtle Boy supporters were like, to me, was like when you disappoint your grandma. They're like, oh, I still like you, but I'm mad at you. That's how they acted to me. It was like, I'm disappointed in you, like grandma. Like it wasn't like, I don't know.
It just like I said, I don't agree with everything he's done, but I support what he's been doing with the reporting on the Karen Reed case and what has gone on where people just hate him and they don't want to hear anything that has been said, and it's in filings. It's like it's not just him making stuff up, it's stuff that's in the filings. So it's like, just because I don't like somebody, if they came out with the right information, I would have to admit that it was the correct information, even if I don't like somebody,
Exactly. It's
become about it's become about people's hatred for him.
It's like Grant's. I people know that I'm not a big fan of Grant Smith, but I was happy when Grant Smith posted this week that he was disassociated with that scumbag that he had been associating with. Let's just put it that way. Like, so when someone does something good, you can acknowledge it, even if you're not a big fan of theirs. Like,
I fully agree, and there are some Sandra Birchmore supporters who hate him, who he has written articles about, where his followers went after them and they hate him. Like if you mention him in front of them, they like just get irate about it, which I understand. He went after them, but he is doing what he was reporting on is coming from the filings. What he's looking at John O'Keefe's arm, you can't say it was from a car, so
exactly. I mean, it does not look like a car, but someone just noted that Turtle Boy is going to be coming up at 9 p.m.
Yes.
So it is a good segue to Turtle Boy. If people want to go watch that at 9 p.m., you can definitely do so. I'm not one of those shows. There are other shows I notice that get very upset when people talk about other shows. We're not that. Like, we were up against Sean on the golf tonight. I didn't realize that he was going to be on at 7 o'clock as well. And we just did this last minute, so there was really no planning in it. And then you noted also that the Glarer is also on.
I
another
noticed
favorite of mine. So all of our favorite shows are on tonight. So
just watch the replays, people.
Yeah, watch the replay. We promote them all. We love them all. Like I loved one night that people were watching both my show and the Glarer show at the same time on separate devices. That was amazing. So I hope people are doing that tonight.
Yeah, that would be good to support both. All this everybody who's trying to get cases out there to, get things out there that things aren't right. like with Sandra's case, I kind of made the rounds. I came on you. I went on LTL's show. I went on Dylan's show. I forget the name of it at the moment. To try to get her case out there more. And you guys have created a community where you'll let each other stream your stuff to show what happened here or and things like that. So it's good that you guys all help each other out. And sometimes you end up being on the same night. So
we do.
So
do you have any final thoughts tonight that you want to share? People are asking about, again, it is next Saturday, 12 to 3 p.m., Stoughton Town Hall, excuse me, that you're doing a protest.
Yes, the standout. Yep. We do have somebody who has extra signs, but if you can make some signs, just grab a piece of poster board and write "Justice for Sandra Birchmore" or something like that, and come join us. If you've been to some of the free Karen protests, you'll recognize some people. Just please, if you could come join the Facebook page, the Justice for Sandra Birchmore, or if you're on Twitter, follow the at Sandra Birchmore, so you can help get the case out there more. The page right now is open. So people can share from the page. It's not a private group yet. Once it starts, we start getting a little more crazy, I'll probably end up having to change it to a private group. But I mean, since these articles have been coming out, my Twitter, Sandra Birchmore, has been going crazy, and I appreciate it. Everybody liking and sharing and commenting, because every time you do that, it just gets her case out there more. And if you see, even if it's not like one of our interviews, I know obviously Mike wants everybody to like and share this, but even if you see other interviews, post that on the Facebook page. We need to get her case out there more, and it just helps the algorithm push it out there more. And I appreciate everybody coming on here tonight to listen to what the news about Sandra's case. And you can just go to her page, the Just for Sandra Birchmore Facebook page, and get lots more information, especially the file section. You can read the reports.
I want to thank you, Mizzy, number one,
Thank
for being here tonight. I also want to thank Barbara, who's cousin of Sandra Birchmore, who's been in the chat. She just thanked us as well. Thank you so much, Barbara, for listening. And I hope you get justice for Sandra, all of you out there who care about Sandra, because this is just, it's not right. It's not right what happened to her. And I think we need to find out why. I want the Attorney General to make some kind of statement. Like, this is an elected official's not going to make a statement about this. I don't get why we know nothing at this point.
At least just saying that they took up the case.
Yeah.
And I agree with Barbara. I appreciate you for having me on to talk about her case again. Anytime you want me to come talk about her case, just let me know.
I definitely will. I appreciate it. And I'm so happy to see the news that the feds are investigating this, and that something, happened with the firewalls, that getting decertified is a big step.
Yes.
And
I hope the public to get behind us so we can put more pressure on the powers that be to push her case, and watching shows like this helps put the pressure on them.
I hope so. And I want to see more people join the Facebook group. We saw a little bump last time after the last show.
Yes, definitely.
Please invite your friends to the Facebook group, Justice for Sandra Birchmore. We need a lot more people in there.
Yes.
It needs to be much larger. Help Mizzy get more people in there.
And I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much again for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mizzy.
Thank you.
Awesome. We're the Young Jerks. My name is Mike Crawford. I want to thank Mizzy for being here tonight. I want to thank our listeners. I want to thank MJ, our moderator. I want to thank all the commenters, Barbara, for being in the chat as well. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so on our YouTube, Facebook. Like the video, share it. You know any good groups that the video should be in, share it there as well. I also want to mention that we do take donations. If you want to donate. Venmo, Mike Crawford, TYJ, or the Cash App, Mike Crawford 1. You can also make contributions through our YouTube. You can become a member, or you can actually do what we call a super chat. Those contributions definitely do help us do more content. I want to thank everyone who's been supporting the Young Jerks. We're growing, it's getting more numbers, and I thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Have a great Easter, everybody.